When my grandfather founded this company 3 generations ago, his idea was to produce the best coffee in the world. We are still struggling for that. I'm not saying that we do it. We try. And our company mission is still the same. In the 90s, we decided to go global. So we are now present in 140 countries, serving more than 70,000 Horeca places with more than 6 million espresso every day. So we started having a big problem because espresso is so complex to prepare. So it's on the desktop. Excuse me. Desktop. Yes. Perfect. Okay. So since espresso, which is our focus, is very complex to prepare, many of you have seen the baristas, which art and mastership they have in preparing this wonderful cup. My father used to say that they have to take account of at least 16 different variables. It is true that these 16 variables must be all perfect at the same time. So outside Italy, because espresso is so Italian, there is no espresso culture. So it was extremely painful and difficult to get quality in the cup. And because coffee is about pleasure, as written in the object of desire, if you don't have quality, you completely spoil the consumer experience and even the reason why to enjoy espresso. So and this eventually was going to completely spoil and, let's say, jeopardize our own effort to go global. So we had to decide the big question. The focus is not the quality of the coffee, but the focus is the quality of the cup. Because this is, no matter who prepares the cup, what the consumer, what the customer, the final customer enjoys. And this, I can tell you, was the beginning. It's like deciding to escalate the Mount Everest. Because, unfortunately, quality perception, which is really the focus, is due to whatever contributes to the preparation, which means not only coffee, equipment, training of who prepares. It's also about the ambience where you are served your coffee. This wonderful workshop would not be so pleasant if the place, this wonderful room, would not be as beautiful as it is. And also the service. If you don't serve an espresso with a nice smile, you kind of make the customer in a very bad mood. So all these are elements which are fundamental to the quality perception if you really want to be the best. This is the reason why the title of this presentation, and this is the big change that we had to introduce. The perfect espresso, the object of desire. Let me see. So our mission today was not the same in 2000, is that thanks to our enthusiasm of the team, of course, teamwork and values, we aim to delight people all over the world with who value quality of life by offering the best coffee, the best espresso that nature can provide. So you will see that we challenge nature, enhancing perfection through the most innovative technology, and also inspiring the consumer with the search of beauty in whatever we do. Complex vision with one clear and only goal, which is delighting the consumer. So our business strategy today is based on 3 pillars. As I already introduced, we are focused on espresso for one clear reason, because espresso is the quintessence of coffee. We do research in our aroma lab at the Area Science Park. We have a lab which is called Aroma Lab, where we screen each and every of 1,000 coffee flavors. There are good one and bad one, but for sure, espresso, due to the chemical physical way it is extracted, only concentrates the good aromas of espresso, which is not the case with our ways of preparing. So this is the reason why of the focus on espresso as an aroma enhancer. Due to our quality goal, we are of course premium, and in order to, we are very much influenced by 2 American writers, which are Jack Truth and Al Ries, which together made this theory about positioning. Positioning was about differentiating until some years ago. Today, you cannot position yourself by only differentiating. You need to really be unique in order to be able to sustain yourself in the market because of the very tough competition, hyper-competitive environment. So uniqueness is the fundamental strategy of our company. We want to be unique to such an extent that, just to make one example, we decided to focus our product to one. Also by logic, because if it has to be the best, it can be only one. But we search uniqueness in whatever we do, all the rest. And the third is the, let's say, global geography, as we will see more, and also the universality of the, let's say, product use, as we will see later on in detail. So this makes us to have a competitive positioning, which we can see illustrated in the chart. We are trying to cover the niche, the super premium niche, in each and every segment of the coffee market where we can make the quality difference. Think about, because it's horribly complex, to try to be in several segments and do the best in each and every one. We are trying to do it. You will see some charts, but this is the core of the, let's say, the consequence on the organization. So our vision today with this strategy is to represent the world reference for coffee culture and excellence through innovation and development of, let's say, this high-end segment. And as a consequence of that, we have the three strategic objectives that you can see in the chart. Our product strategy. The core of our core strategy is espresso, the espresso cup. From there are the so-called espresso-based coffee, cappuccino, latte, whatever, different recipes that people can enjoy, espresso freddo, and so on. And then there are the products we go along with coffee. First of all, the accessories for the preparation, but also the food and drinks going along with espresso, and also products which are derived from espresso, like some recipes. There are many possibilities. So this is the idea, to have a kind of a concentric product strategy, having the Illy taste in the espresso at the center of our galaxy, product galaxy. As you will see, there are now 9 product families, starting just from one espresso. In the chart, in the figures, you can see many coffee machines, because one of the consequences of our strategy is that we need, as I already introduced, ensure the perfection of the coffee equipment technology, which was not our business before, in order to perfect the cup. Because you can completely spoil the quality of one cup if the machine is not the correct one. So we are developing technology, proprietary technology, as you will see, for espresso machine, and this requires a lot of engineering. Another core technology, as you will see, is pressurization. And recently, in order to really, the idea of this perfect cup strategy is either, in order to have the perfect cup, either we have a barista who is trained, an expert preparing the cup in the traditional way. In this case, he will be extremely competent in managing the famous 16 variables, or another user using products which are mistake-proof. In this case, they tend to use portionate systems which embed all the skill of the barista into the machine, plus the consumable that we put into it. The extreme level of standardization in terms of is the ready-to-drink coffee, what we call coffee ready-to-go. Is the result of a joint venture with Coca-Cola that we did last year. The product is called Illissimo. It is at the center of this chart. It's a canned coffee which has the same Illy blend, the same Illy taste, ready to drink for to go, or people who prefer to simply because they are lazy or they want to be sure of the standard quality, have it already prepared. So what we want to do, we are a small company, completely family-owned. We have to be self-financed. We have not the big capital like some of our colleagues in the industry to flood the market with money, with a big advertising campaign and so on. So we have to rely on the consumer experience in order to create the word, spread the word, which makes the company, the brand awareness to grow and the sales consequently. This is the fundamentals of word-of-mouth marketing. So we are a word-of-mouth marketing company, and the first step is the experience in the cup. If the experience in the cup is perfect, then people will talk to family and friends, giving reference about their experience. Hey, this was really good coffee, and this is a nice brand, blah, 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 and so on. Buzz. Very much actual now. Everybody speaks about that with social network in the web, etc., etc. It's very much a fad in management now to speak about social networking. But we do that since ever, at least since we decided to go global. So word of mouth brings brand building. The higher the brand awareness, the higher the sales. The higher the sales, the higher the cash flow. The higher the cash flow, the higher the possibility of the company to invest for further investment, further improvement of the quality. Because if you sit, then you will probably get, let's say, reached by some competitors. This is the cycle we are pursuing systematically. Every day, every year, improving the experience, improving the product, improving the experience, and so on. In order to do that, of course, our strategic scope is to offer perfection in the cup, as I already introduced. And this is, we do this strategy since 2003. As you see in this chart, the strategic scope to offer perfection in the cup is in 4 strategic business areas: out of home, at home, in the workplace, and also on the go. So the fundament of the consumer experience is what we call the Illy experience. There is one Greek word which is still used in many languages, I think also in English, which is eudaimonia. Eudaimonia is happiness, as has been defined by Aristotle. Happiness through the sum of physical pleasure with intellectual involvement to be shared in society. So it's like enjoying a nice glass of wine, a nice restaurant experience. This is really about a Epicurean experience. So in order to make this polysensual, our, let's say, experience polysensual, we decided to add one sense into our coffee experience, which is the sight, the view. The view is a terrific emotional trigger, but also it communicates implicitly quality. If something is beautiful, it implicitly communicates quality. Remember also the Greek concept of kalokagatos, which means beautiful and good at the same time. About the intellectual involvement, it's through coffee has always been, since its discovery by the Turkish 5 centuries ago, the official language of culture. Arts and writers, any kind of cultural activity, creative activity has been fueled by millions of cups of coffee. So it is easy to simply kind of put our espresso at the center of this cultural context, which we do through arts and literature. And finally, the social let's say, sharing is the moment of consumption. So this is the Illy experience. In order to do that, we must focus on the quality of the cup first. So the quality of the cup is I did already anticipate that we do some research on the coffee aromas. It's about the flavors. It's about, first of all, the absence of defects. It's like wine. It must be high body, broad and complex flavor profile of extremely positive and rich aromas. This is it. In order to do that, the job is similar than in the wine industry, even if it is more complex, because what you buy with the wine is a finished product. What you buy with one can of coffee is a semi-finished product that you have still to prepare. So in order to improve we have to start, of course, from the bean, like the grapes. And this brings us to work a lot with the growing countries, as we will see, and starting from here. Aroma identification, understanding which are the precursors of the aromas with a scientific approach by working on the genetics, and then go back into the growing countries, which are all in the south of the world, bringing the know-how about which kind of terroir to choose, which kind of cultivar to choose, how to manage the agronomical practice, and so on. We do this kind of research with the best university in the world, very much with an approach as described by Professor Michelone this morning. And these activities are organized in 4 labs. Aroma lab for the flavor, sensory lab for the, let's say, sensorial counterpart, tech lab for the technology, let's say, development, and biolab for the biological. This research led in the last century, since the company was incorporated 76 years ago, to 3 of the radical innovation in the coffee industry out of 8. You have here listed the 8 radical innovation in the coffee sector in the whole century, in the entire world. 3 of them came out from the illycaffè. Thanks to this approach in basic research, my father was a chemist, my grandfather was an inventor, myself, I'm a chemist. We do have this kind of scientific approach to our coffee. Once we know what we need in order to get the best bean, the job is to go to the grower. So of course we needed an integrated supply chain, which allows us to not only reach the best grower willing to work with us, motivated and competent, then transfer them the knowledge how to improve the quality, and finally, if they succeed, paying them more, significantly more, so that they can work in a sustainable condition, in any market condition, even when there are bad times, but also incentivizing them to continue to work with us. Otherwise, we might kind of have a shortage of supply one day or the other, the day this supply chain is broken. So this is a complex activity. Today, thanks to this approach, our standards are above the market, so our proprietary. The quality of the coffee we buy, you cannot buy on the market because the standards are superior. So the grower works specifically for us. And 100% of the coffee we buy like this. And this supply chain is sustainable. That means that the grower gets more money and better social and also environmental sustainability. So then we are here in Trieste, not only Trieste anymore, unfortunately. We are starting opening plants in other parts of the world, but mainly in Trieste, the production. The production in the shop floor is about blending first. As I already said, the unique blend is made of 9 ingredients of the best Arabica from the world. We source from 14 different countries with the system I described before. For the 9 families of products which I briefly introduced before, for the professional, home, out of door, and workplace, let's say, needs. The beans are selected twice. They are first manually selected in the growing countries, and secondly, electronically here before roasting. That means that every single bean one by one is sorted twice before roasting in order to prevent completely the presence of defects. Traditional roasting is the way to get better flavors and aromas. Proprietary packaging is something interesting for you to know, because the second aroma enhancer for Illy is pressurization. The first being, as I said before, espresso, preparation. The second is pressurization packaging. Why this? Because during roasting you develop the 1000 coffee flavors, but also 10 liters of carbon dioxide per kilo of coffee. So the tendency is of this gas to flow out and carry all the flavors with it. When you enter in a nice coffee shop, you smell, at Starbucks for instance, okay, you smell, nice flavor of coffee, yes, but it is in the air, and we want these flavors to go in the cup, not in the air. In order to do that, pressurization means replacing air with inert gas under pressure. The inert gas prevents any oxidation. High pressure forces the aromas to stay locked into the coffee bean. This is one of the essential innovation of Illy, which still is fundamental for our product strategy after 76 years. As I said, we have to develop proprietary coffee machine technology with a make-or-buy approach. That means that if we can improve something which is already existing, okay, otherwise we develop our own, and we are structured for that. The quality system is extremely sophisticated, with more than 100 quality control and a double certification, plus the environmental certification. For the training, we founded, also in partnership with MIB, the University of Coffee. The headquarters of the University of Coffee is here in Trieste. The University of Coffee is organized in 3 departments. The first department is for the coffee growers, as I already mentioned. The second department is for the professional of the hospitality, with the need of learning about the quality of the cup, learning about the quality of the service, and learning about the quality of the business as well. The essence of our strategy is to let our customer grow. If they come to the University of Coffee, they grow twice as much compared to those who only buy Illy coffee with no education. And the third department is the department for the connoisseur, the consumer willing to learn more and become a kind of connoisseur of coffee. The university was founded in 2003. It is branching out in order to reach all the stakeholders where they are. So we do have now, I think, 16 branches, and I think we will finish the development when we will reach something more than 30. This was only for the product, in order to ensure the perfection in the cup. Of course, this has some consequences on the distribution. So as I said, we have a global geography. We work in 4 strategic business areas, 10 channels. And we have a customer segmentation by quality and volume. And we try, of course, to reach synergies between all these channels. This is one point of comments, because you can imagine that this product strategy, with this distribution strategy, with all the activities that I mentioned, creates a huge amount of complexity in our company, which is basically the focus of communication strategy. By trying to leverage the word of mouth as much as possible, we base as much as possible, let's say, our brand equity on the relationship we have on the customer. So we are very much for Web 2.0, let's say, social networking, not only on the web, more out of the web. We use a lot public relationship in order to build our reputation. The image is built basically through the image, whatever is visual, and the awareness. The main tool for awareness is the presence on the market, not advertising. So we are developing this perfect cup strategy by following this strategic map. It's a kind of roadmap. We started from the best coffee until 2003, and then we started a perfect cup strategy, which brings us to become a coffee solution provider. Already now, in the hospitality, we go to our customer in the Horeca with a customer solution strategy. That means that we provide them with all the necessary tools and knowledge in order to make a good business with coffee, and then we start a partnership, which is very different from the model we used to have before, where we were simply selling coffee by the kilo to the customer. The same is true in the home channel, where we start to be substantially going direct with the bricks and clicks business model in order to serve the customer directly and not through retail, where we cannot deliver the knowledge content which is necessary. So this strategy is basically the first step, because maybe some of you know this chart. This has been taken by the so-called Hyper Competition book from Richard Daveni. The first step of the so-called competitive escalation are the basic strategy, which I described in the first chart. But then, when the advantages of the basic strategy of the companies are exhausted, because you are imitated by the customer, you are entering in a second level, which is knowledge-based competition. So this is what we try to do now, to embed the knowledge of coffee into the final products, either in the electronics of the coffee machine that we sell, or in the hardware of the systems that we sell, or in the courses of the University of Coffee, or in the franchising shop that we franchise, etc. Basically, our strategy has radically moved from only beans to bit and beans. Next will be to build entry barriers, thanks to that. And once we will have entry barriers to that, we will continue the competitive escalation, hopefully until to become competing for the high financial resource, maybe some decades from now. So this escalation brings us to, as you can see in this box, to have a goal to basically sell high value, let's say high knowledge content products, or so-called product with embedded knowledge, with 50% of coffee and 50% of let's say value by 2013. Already now we are bundling knowledge and coffee to our best customers, and it is, for instance, we developed one segment of Horeca customer which are called Artisti del Gusto. In less than 3 years they represent 10% of our customer base, more than 10%, 15% of our customer base, and they consume 3 times as much as the average customer. So it's quite impressive. The very difficulty in managing this journey is resource allocation and phasing out the so-called old business, the core business, the with the new products. So this has been pulled out from a book which is The Dynamics of Innovation. And I can tell you it is very difficult to introduce innovation in one already existing company, because the tendency would be to resist to change, to lose time, and then to be late in innovation. And when you are late in innovation, you don't deserve it anymore. So if you want to deserve innovation, you have to do a damn good job in the old business, continue to revitalize it. And this creates a huge amount of projects in a company like ours, working in 4 strategic business areas. And the huge amount of projects creates a typical organizational environment which is very much unstable. You don't have structured and formalized process. It's constantly, let's say, work in progress. And this is the reason why, in order to do that, we need a special enterprise. Very much along with what has been said in the wonderful presentation today. The company must be coherent. There must be a coherence between the product and the entrepreneurial philosophy. We have to grow by improving quality. 90% of the company in the consumer goods, when they grow, they gradually compromise quality. We cannot afford that. Otherwise, we will lose the equity of the brand and we will eventually lose our premium price and our company. The company has to be coherent also with the high-end segment in order to maintain the margin, etc. But what is more important is the company has to be complex. Because we are polyhedric, we are not a consumer company, consumer goods company anymore. We are in the durable as well, with the coffee machines. We are in the service, with the University of Coffee and the financement that we give. And we are a retailer with the franchising chain that we are proposing to the market. So, if you look at all the books of organization, to be able to do several jobs in the same company was suicide. We are trying to do that. In order to do it, it is an incredible exercise of pulling new competencies in the company. So we had to bring a lot of engineering, a lot of retailers, university professor to lead the University of Coffee and so on, and changing completely, let's say, the spirit and the let's say the organizational environment. But still, it is complex, and in this case, in order to organize the company, I studied theory of the organization for complex organizations. The essence of complex organization is a kind of continuous shift between competition and cooperation of the teams. So teams are competing and cooperating, competing because they want to do, everybody wants to show that he is the best and he delivers good idea. Cooperating because the challenge of people is to take the good ideas from the colleagues and develop them. This is complex because Italians are not very much about teamwork. Italians are very much about individualistic behavior. So we have to very much change the mentality of the people. We are also in Trieste, which is a small town. Typically, small town usually have a kind of more provincial, let's say, culture. We need to completely challenge and change this mentality and become a world-class organization, which we are gradually doing. Always remembering that changing a corporate culture needs from 5 to 7 years. So we are starting seeing people sharing the vision, which I communicated 6 years ago. Today they come back. Hey, I have an idea, I think this and this and this and this. Oh my God, 6 years after, people really start to share the same culture. So, in order to have this kind of enterprise is very much, and we would say 99% about values. So we had to crystallize our value, and I can proudly say that we are a stakeholder company. We don't do that for anybody specific, we do it for the stakeholders. We did definitely have a hierarchy of our stakeholder. First of all is the consumer, who literally owns the company, logically, because the money comes out from his pocket, not from a shareholder in the stock exchange. The client is our partner in serving the consumer. And then our colleagues and so on, you can see this hierarchy. There are even undesired stakeholders, like our state, who takes at least 50% of our profit. Now with this wonderful IRAP, there are companies reducing in this crisis period their profit, and the taxes can reach up to 80%. So this is definitely undesired stakeholder, but it's there. And even the competitors are considered stakeholder, because at the end of the day, the wealth of one sector depends on the wealth of the different companies thriving on it. So with these values, let's say, can be summarized. We have two fundamental values. I hope you understood this: passion for excellence and quality, which we understand specifically as love for beauty and quality. And the second is ethics, which we understand as building long-term value through sustainability, transparency, and people development. And to make a joke, and the final joke, by kind of joking with the 4P of Philip Kotler, we did reinvent the 4C, which is first of all the cuore, which is the passion to serve; the second, which is the client, who, if he's, let's say, happy, will repeatedly buy the product, generating the cash. And the grow, the crescita, is the award for doing well, the first 3 C's. Thank you very much. I'm open to some question if you have.